whatever the appropriate color scheme of hotness is, the Cavs are that. We're coming off of a 118-108 win over the Clippers on Monday night. Again, statement win over arguably the hottest team, second hottest team, whatever in the NBA. Donovan Mitchell goes out and he's dealing with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and everybody else all night. And it's 28 points and 12 assists, only 2 turnovers, a couple of steals and a block as the defense continues to pick up from him. We'll talk about that a little bit. The driving kick, playmaking, everything he's opening up. The game just looks like it's on easy mode for Donovan Mitchell right now, cruising to another All-Star selection. I have to imagine when the reserves are announced on Thursday night. And this has been emblematic of the way the Cavs have been playing, 10-2 in January, and they've got the Pistons coming up on Wednesday. So, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourselves, but 11-2 certainly within arm's reach. And it goes back really to the middle of December to, with that moment when there was an inflection point in the season. You already had Evan Mobley out with arthroscopic knee surgery. Darius Garland, in the midst of like an up and down start to the season for him, fractures his jaw, goes on the injured list for an extended period. And it's like they're 13-12. Is this a team that overachieved last year and is about to dip? And then since then, 15-4. Now they're only a half game out of third in the East, right there, like hot on the heels of the Bucks and the Sixers, right there with the Knicks. Top 10 level offense since the middle of December. Best defense in the league since that time. How did we get here, Justin? When those injuries happened, kind of what did that force the Cavaliers to do, and how have they been able to benefit from that adversity?
Yeah, it's funny because when the second game against Boston occurred, where the Cavs lost both of those games in Boston, Carter and I were sitting there on the podcast being like, well, you know what? Evan Mobley, he should be back soon. We should be getting to full health, and we've had the second toughest schedule in the league. So this is the point where we're going to go on a run. Everyone's going to get healthy. We're finally going to get some continuity. And then, of course, the next day, Mobley and Garland get announced out for the next 6 weeks. But even throughout that stretch, like even though the schedule was lighter, we didn't know what it was going to look like. In the past, even though, the Donovan Mitchell era has been so successful in Cleveland, when he's been operating as the lone ball handler without a point guard, the offense hadn't been as strong. Now, the minutes were still productive, but he kind of has struggled in that role historically. And I think there was an expectation that he was going to be a little more ball dominant in that stretch. They're going to have to kind of grit it out on defense, and they'd have to muddy up the games a little bit. And that has been the furthest thing from the case. I think Donovan Mitchell has been playing my favorite brand of basketball that I've ever seen him play. He is dominating games without dominating on the ball. There's the team just has so much momentum with how they play. And even the first stretch, like Garland and Mobley get announced out, Mitchell misses time with an illness, and they still manage. And they still managed to win, I think, 4 of the 5 games without Garland, Mitchell, and Mobley. Like, that should not be possible for a team that's made a consolidation trade that's a little top heavy. So the way that they're playing, not necessarily faster, because they've actually gone a little bit slower since Garland's been out, but they're playing quicker in the half court. The ball isn't sticking. They're getting 3-point shots up with volume. And while that's been the way that they've wanted to play all season, it's kind of funny that, through necessity, I think sometimes when you have guys like Dean Wade or Isaac Okoro that don't want to step on any toes, that want to make the right play, they can be a little hesitant when they get those opportunities. But when guys are out, it's okay, well, the ball's coming to me and I'm semi-open. I'm going to take that shot. And I just think that everybody's been empowered on the offense, and it's been leading to these results.
And the results have been extraordinarily impressive. You mentioned the kind of the ball movement. And it's sort of paradoxical in one sense, where you're like, you get rid of or you lose an all-star caliber point guard in Darius Garland, but the flow of the ball movement seems like it improves a little bit. Before Garland went out, the Cavs were 18th in passes per game per Second Spectrum tracking, 25th in assists, 19th in secondary assists. And then since, you mentioned this sort of shift where it's Donovan on the ball pretty much full time, and then more low usage ball mover shooters on the floor, it's first in passes per game, 8th in assists, 14th in secondary assists. These sort of general metrics of like, this is how you can tell the ball's popping around and there's more guys. It's like the touch time is down. The flow is just a little bit like more uncluttered, and not necessarily an indication of this is like Garland was a sticking point in the offense, but it does seem like things have gotten a little simpler in a way that has been a major benefit for, or has helped sort of streamline things, and which is against the softer part of the schedule, as you mentioned. Let the offense kind of or at least take flights, stay afloat there, which it was only needed to be like a little bit better than okay with how great the defense is. And so much of that goes back to the play of Jared Allen.